Where are you from, and your name, and where you're from and your family?
My name is Charlie Kyriakou. I was born in Detroit, Michigan. My parents are from the island of Cyprus.
Okay, and when did you start Greek dancing?
I started around 15 years old. It was interesting. A young girl at a church had invited my brother to go to the dance group, and so he couldn't drive at that time, but I could, so I drove him to the dance group. And he didn't like it, so he never came back, but I did, and so that's how I'm here now, starting at the church, at the dance group there in Olympians.
And what did you like about Greek dance?
I enjoy the music very much. I got into the music, and the physicality of the music, of the person moving with the music, was very good for me.
And then did you continue to dance through college?
Oh yes, I joined the Intersection Dancers when I was around 17. Ethan Karras was the director at that time with a couple of other people. And then I left that and went to the Hellenic Dancers. And the Hellenic Dancers put on a show called The Holidays in Greece at the Wilshire Bell Theater. And I was involved in that. And from then I became co-director of the group with Mary Koros. And we did a number of performances, especially one at the steps of St. Sophia Cathedral.
I saw that on Facebook.
Right.
Who were some of the other people involved in that?
Oh, let's see. There was my good friend Dino Katsenas. He was in it. My other friend Basilio Chiravolo. He was one of the dancers as well.
Did you start traveling to Greece when you were young to explore Greek dance and music?
The first time I went to Greece as an adult was in 1976, right after I graduated from college. And I was there with my friend Dino Katsenas, and we saw the Doro Strata Theater performance together. And then we went to the island of Crete. We rented a car and drove across the northern part of Crete for a couple of days. And then we also went to the island of Kefalonia, where one of our dancers was getting married there, so we went to their wedding.
Oh, wow. And then what did you do for your career? Just tell us a little bit about college and your career.
All right. I graduated from UCLA as an electrical engineer. I got my bachelor's degree there. And then before I graduated, I was offered a job at Hughes Aircraft Company. And I told them I was going to go to Greece, and they said, well, when you come back, well, you'll have a job for you. So then I returned to Greece in 1982, and I took lessons from a folklorist named Ted Petrides. And I also filmed a joint Greek Gypsy festival in Messaloniki. And I traveled to northern Greece, where I videoed a number of folk dance groups.
Okay, and you were just doing that on your own, or was that part of a dance group?
No, I was doing it on my own.
Okay. And then when did you meet Peter? Let's just fast forward a bit.
Oh boy, when did I meet Peter? I think I met him in 1980 at one of the FDF, I think it was in Vacation Village. And I just briefly met him, but I didn't get to know him until about 1985.
And is that when you became involved with FDF?
Yes, 1985, that's right.
And how long were you involved with FDF?
Almost 20 years.
Wow, and tell us a little bit about what you did at FDF. I mean, I know it was a lot, but just
Yes.
kind of recap.
Right. I was involved with FDF through the FDF Resource Center, where materials from Greece were procured and were made available to people who wanted to learn about Greece through records and CDs for music and DVDs of costumes, and a number of resources were procured for the people who were interested in learning about Greek culture, Greek dance.
Were those stored in one place, or, I mean, now we would think they're online, but where were those kept?
They were kept at my home.
And they were
Yeah, I made them available. I went to different FDF venues and also at the FDF symposiums. I also took up the resource center and sold, made them available to people at the symposiums as well.
Okay. Were you involved in FDF in other ways, teaching, a judge?
I never became a judge. I never wanted to be a judge. I felt I didn't want to judge our children. Other people wanted to do it, and that was fine with me. But I never got involved in judging.
Interesting. How did you work with Peter?
Oh, we worked very well together. I was sort of he called me his Jiminy Cricket, so I kept him out of trouble.
In what ways? Give us some examples of keeping him out of trouble. I'd like to hear that.
I really can't think of anything right now.
Okay. Well, go back to the symposium.
Yeah, the symposiums were weekend FDF teaching where we would get expert teachers or sometimes the judges as well. We would get together for a weekend in different venues in different cities, and they would teach the groups how to new dances so they could take them back to their groups and use them for the next FDF performances.
And those were held at the FDF? Or?
No, there were different venues, like we went to Anaheim, Long Beach, Modesto, Seattle, on different weekends, not during FDF, but at other weekends, usually in the summertime.
Can I ask how the Resource Center and the symposiums were funded?
Symposiums, we would give seed money to the community that wanted to do a symposium. And if they made money, they would return the seed money back to us. If they didn't make money, that was okay. And the way they made money was their Saturday night dinner dance. They need to sell their dinner dance to the members of their community so that they could cover their expenses.
Okay, and how many years were you involved with that?
Oh, Jesus. At least 10 years.
Could you just say that again? I was involved with the symposium.
I was involved with the symposiums for around 10 years.
Okay, and what about the scholarships?
We had two scholarships. One was scholarships to Greece, where we would choose 2 directors to go to a Greek folk dance seminar in Greece. There were 3 of them that we used. One was Mazoxi, that was put on by Kefi and Andreas Frangidakis, and that was in Crete. We also sent people to Ivan Hunt's seminar in Siderokastron, and we also sent people to Ayos Germanos, and Yanis Konstantinou was the director of that seminar.
What was the value of those seminars, those scholarships to the kids who went?
We required them to take a video camera with them, and they videoed all the dance classes, and those videos were made available to the dancers and the directors at FDF, and they were required to provide those copies of the videos to anyone who wanted to get the videos, and they weren't charged at all for it.
Okay. And I spoke to Aris, I never say his name correctly.
Aris Yortsidis.
Thank you.
He's in Washington or something. He just joined the Coast Guard.
Yeah, I talked to him back east in Falls Church, Virginia.
Right, Virginia.
He mentioned you, and he said that scholarship was life-changing.
That's right. We sent him. I think we sent him to Ivan Hunt's group in Siderokastron.
So, the feedback that you got from the students who went on those scholarships, can you speak to what it did for them? I know they went to help other people, but
Right. Yeah, they all of them who went they grew tremendously in terms of folk dance experience, and they were able to come back and teach those dances to their groups and use them for FDF performances when FDF came around.
right. And also tell us about your the musical group.
Yeah, there's a musical scholarship where we would pair an FDF dancer or director with a musician, and the musician would teach them an instrument. And sometimes after they learned the instrument, they would join in performing with one of the bands that we would hire for FDF. Like we usually would hire the band called Zia, and they would play along with them.
What would you say its main accomplishment was, or is?
Its main accomplishment is to bring youth together in Orthodox principles and to preserve our culture, our Greek culture and Greek heritage.
Okay, and how has it changed from when you were involved, or do you keep in contact with people?
Yeah, I went to last FDF. It was at the Marriott Hotel near Disneyland, and yeah, I keep in touch with the people who are involved.
Okay, is it different today than it?
Oh, it's interesting. My daughter felt that things weren't going as well as she had liked to see it, but I felt it was just things were going just fine.
And how would you rate the dancing in terms of how it is today with when you were involved?
I think people have learned a lot more about folk dancing than since the time when I was involved. So their performances are much closer to what you might call more authentic village dancing. There's a lot more choreography that's going on 10 years ago.
Right, and when you say choreography, do you mean, I've heard that people don't like Greek dance choreography because it's not authentic.
Right.
Can you speak to that?
Well, when you put on a performance, you need to have some kind of choreography, or else things get kind of boring if you see a group going around in a circle doing the same step. So there has to be a balance between the folk dancing and some kind of choreography when you put it on stage.
Telling a story.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I would love to hear about your experiences in Greece. I know that you've translated documents from Greek into English.
Right.
You're quite a scholar, I would say.
Okay.
And just tell us about the type of work you've done in that area.
Well, let's see. In 1989, I traveled to Greece with my wife, Mary Shafkalis, and we went to the International Organization of Folk Arts seminar, which was in Lodis at the time. And I got to meet a lot of different folk dance teachers in Greece. And I also was able to buy the videos from the year before, which had some very, very interesting regions of Greece that were represented at the time.
And some of the things that you've written and others have written, you talk about the difference in custom and tradition and what is authentic dance.
Right.
How would you characterize that for, say, in terms of FDF dancing?
Yeah. Like I said before, when you put something on stage, you have to balance the authentic dancing versus choreography. That you need to put some kind of choreography when you put something on stage.
And do you feel like they're telling a story, the students, that they understand is that part of the judging, that they understand and are communicating what that dance is about?
Right, right. Well, the director certainly has a purpose in trying to communicate something about customs and traditions. A lot of times people put on weddings for performances, which is an important custom in Greece. Other than that, the dancers sometimes they don't really get into understanding too much about where the dances come from or how they are connected to the culture.
And would you like to see more of that in the dance, or is it okay that they're just...
I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Each dancer has to mature in their own way.
Right. And Sirota, when I was at Kipseli and met you,
Right.
Was saying that she doesn't understand why all the kids that are involved in FDF aren't continuing to dance when they're adults.
That's true. They don't. A lot of kids stop dancing. The dance groups usually stop dancing around 18, and they go off into college, and they get involved in college, and they just don't have time for doing the folk dancing anymore.
Have you ever thought of ways to bring them back?
Not really.
That would be a big hurdle.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. One thing that I read is that in order to really understand folk dance, you have to be a bit of a scientist, and you are a scientist.
Yes, I am.
And I was really interested in how that works, and if you agree with that.
I don't think you have to be a scientist to enjoy folk dancing. The music is something that really motivates people to listen to folk music, and also to see how the music is connected with the dance.
And in terms of people understanding who they are and getting something out of the dance,
Right.
To be in folk dance is sort of to understand your heritage,
Right.
the art, the culture.
Exactly. Right.
So what would you recommend to students who really want to be involved in folk dance or in their Greek culture?
Right. Well, I would suggest that they to join a management team. FDF has a management team that puts on the FDF event, and being part of the management team, they are able to give back something that they also received as folk dancers.
Okay, and the management team, what did that do for the students?
Management team helps people to understand the complexity of FDF, an FDF event, and it's something that they grow into and learn about.
As far as that management team, can you tell us about anyone that directly took their experience on the management team at FDF and used that to go forward? I know Eris spoke about that.
Yeah, Eris did, yeah. There was a girl, Amy Stamison, who when her company heard about what she was getting involved with FDF, I think they promoted her because they were so impressed with what she was doing.
And were you close friends with Bishop Anthony?
I would say yes. I was close with Bishop Anthony.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I just want to make sure we continue to contextualize all the answers.
Yes, Bishop Anthony. How can I put this? I mean, he knew that I was involved with FDF, but he wasn't always supportive of me.
Was not?
No, he was not always.
Why was that?
I don't know. I think he counted on Peter to really run the show.
Okay, and was he instrumental in moving things forward then?
He certainly was. He gave his 100% backing to FDF.
Did you say that with Bishop Anthony was?
Bishop Anthony was back to FDF 100%.
Okay.
He saw the value of FDF in terms of bringing children back into the church.
And I keep going back to Peter, even though it's probably hard to talk about him when he's sitting here, but what was Peter's role in, I know he founded it, but in
Yes.
keeping it going?
Well, when I got involved, he was an advisor to the FDF at the time. And we had presidents of FDF who would run the meetings and make the decisions. But we turned that into a board of trustees, and Peter became the chairman of the board.
And how would you say Peter was as a leader?
Peter was a very fine leader, and I learned a lot from him.
Like what types of things?
About leadership and about being involved in your culture and your tradition and how to motivate others.
Okay. I'd like to hear about your family, your wife, your children. You could tell us, my wife's name is
My wife's name is Mary Shafkalis, and she's my third cousin. Her father and my father are second cousins, and they were born in the same village in Cyprus called Drusha. And I have two children. Harula is 21, and she just graduated from UCLA in materials engineering, and she's going to go forward with her graduate studies now in the fall. My son, his name is Ted, and he's 18, and he just moved to Phoenix, and he's going to the Arizona State University. So he's thinking of majoring in bioengineering.
Wow,
Right, so
congratulations.
thank you.
Great. Did they dance at FDF?
Oh yes. My son loves to dance. In fact, he joined a dance group in Phoenix, where he's going to school, and I was kind of surprised that he was able to join a group. He doesn't have a car, so I didn't know how he was going to get to the church. Turns out that some other people are involved in the folk dancing there, so they're driving him there and back.
And that, I've heard that's one of the big benefits of FDF is when after they graduate from high school and go off to college or move away,
Right.
they always, not always, but often meet other people.
That's true. And they get married, and then their kids come to FDF.
Do you know people who have met at FDF and gotten married?
Yeah. George Kyriakou, who was one of the instrumentalists in the band, the Olympian band, he met his wife at FDF. And now he's married and he has a couple of kids. Oh, George Papangelen. Yeah, he met Mia at FDF. There you go.
Right. Yeah, I love that about FDF.
That's true.
And in, I know in the Modesto community, that almost seems like it's kind of an FDF neighborhood.
Yeah.
What about Los Angeles?
Los Angeles. Well, each church has their own FDF dance groups. Northridge, Redondo Beach, St. Sophia Cathedral. So they all have their dance groups. Pasadena.
Can we rephrase that possibly?
Yes.
Los Angeles is
The Los Angeles dance
is
groups.
a rich community for the FDI.
Yes, it's a rich community for FDF dance groups. And they come from all over the LA
Can you
community.
start that from the very top, from Los Angeles?
Let's see, there are a number of dance groups in the LA area. Northridge has groups. My wife teaches a group in Northridge, and my daughter dances in one of the groups in Northridge. My daughter also teaches a group at Redondo Beach. So my family is quite involved with FDF.
Are they teaching at the church in Redondo Beach?
Yes. My daughter's teaching at the church in Redondo Beach.
And before you named, which I kind of like, that you named all of the different churches where they have dancing
Right.
in Los Angeles, could you just rephrase that and say, these are the churches where FDF is?
Okay, these are the churches in Los Angeles where FDF dance groups can be found. Northridge, Redondo Beach, St. Sophia Cathedral, Pasadena. So there are a number of groups that are going on.
And Downey.
And Downey too, yes, Downey.
I have
I see.
some whispering in my ear over here. How is that, beyond FDF, how has FDF helped the Greek community to grow and thrive in say, just Southern California?
Well, it's helped to bring Greeks in.
I just interrupt once. If you could say FDF has helped, I'm sorry.
FDF has helped the community bring them together, and it gives them a venue where they get to meet their friends at FDF, where they don't see them very much in the rest of the year. But in February they get together and they see their friends and catch up on old news about friends' children and what they're doing.
Right, and how important do you think it is? I don't think that they still have those scholarships degrees.
No, they probably don't have anymore.
How important do you think that is to maintaining what goes on at FDF?
Well, I thought it was pretty important.
I'm sorry, could you start with this? You thought the scholarships
Yeah,
to Greece.
right, the scholarships to Greece, where we sent directors to folk dance seminars in Greece. I thought that was a pretty important thing to do. It was important to learn more of the esoteric dances where we don't get to learn them here in America, but when you go to Greece, to the seminars, they have a wide range of dances that they teach there.
Can you maybe say, I think the loss of scholarships at FDF was a regrettable loss for us? Or something
Yes,
like
the
that?
loss of the FDF scholarships, I think, was regrettable.
Can you say that one more time?
I think the loss of the FDF scholarships was regrettable, but I guess they have their own problems,
Right. Their own reasons.
their own reasons, right?
Regarding that. How important is that to just the Greek heritage here in the U.S.? Because FDF has been important in preserving that.
That's
So
true.
How would you say that FDF's impact on maintaining the Greek heritage, how significant has that been?
It's significant, but it's not absolutely necessary to have these seminars where we send kids there. I think FDF is doing just fine under Father Kyriakou, who's now the chairman of the board. So he's doing the best he can, I'm sure.
This will be an obvious answer for you probably, but for people we expect a lot of non-Greeks to watch this. Why is it important to maintain your Greek heritage in terms of the arts in the United States?
American culture, their traditions are not as strong as they are in Greece, and so we feel that it's important to preserve our cultural heritage.
And are they preserving that heritage of, say, the authentic village dances in Greece? Or I've heard that you're doing almost a better job here.
Some people believe that we're doing a better job. No, the youth in Greece are also involved in folk dancing. There are a number of folk dance groups that are involved in Greece. Dorostrato Theater is still going on. The Lyceum Eleniou of Athens is putting on yearly performances at the Erodion. So there's still interest in Greece.
Do you still keep in touch with people from FDF?
From FDF, yes. In fact, I just bought a book from Yvonne Hunt, so I'm in contact with her. I'm also in contact with Lefteris Dondakis from the Lyceum of Athens. He always sends his best wishes to me, and we've kept in touch.
And you wrote, I think you translated something that he wrote, correct?
Yeah, he wrote a book about his experiences, and the most interesting thing about the book was the pictures that he took.
Could you contextualize that, say his name and
Yes. Lefteris Dondakis, who is the director of the Lyceum Eleniou of Athens, wrote a book about his experiences as a folk dance researcher. And the more interesting parts of the book are really the pictures that he took, which were very interesting things.
And over what period of time was he taking those pictures?
Oh, I guess over the times he was researching, probably over 20 years.
Are those pictures available any place besides the book? Or?
No, you have to buy the book to get the pictures.
That would be great to have on the website.
Yes, it would. Yes, it
So
would.
in terms of learning to dance, that just reminds me, do you feel like, I've heard that students are learning to dance more and more from YouTube videos.
Yes, I guess they are.
Do you think that's good or bad, or?
Any way you can learn about dance is a good thing, I think.
I'd also like you to say something about your Facebook page. I'm really impressed that you put up so many photos. And
Yeah, I've got a lot of photos. Well, I have two pages. One is the Charles Kyriakou Facebook, and then I have one called Charlie Kyriakou Greek Dancer. And that one, I have my biography of my experiences in folk dancing. The Charles Kyriakou one, I have a number of photos on it. A number of my friends who've passed away, I have their pictures on the Facebook, wishing them that their memory be eternal.
How many people would you say followers
I really don't know.
Okay. Because you get a lot of responses to all those photos.
Yes, I do.
FDF has a great Facebook page too.
That's right, they do.
Are you involved with that at all?
No, I'm not.
What would you, just overall, like people to know about your involvement with FDF? Because you're mentioned so many times by, I don't think there's been one interview where your name did not come up.
Is that right?
That's right. And I would just love to hear kind of your overall remembrance of your time in FDF.
Well, I gathered a lot of information, a lot of videos and CDs about Greek folk dancing, and I always like to share them with people. And I guess that's what they remember me most about, which my contribution to FDF and Greek folk dancing.